Hey, everybody. It's Amy with Life Redesigned, where we grow through what we go through. Today, we're getting a little bit personal, and we are talking about overcoming. I know, it's Michelle Obama's book title, but it's such a great title, and it's such a great topic, and I want to talk with you all more about it. So let's dive in. Let's think about what I want you to do is I want you to think about a time in your life that you've really had to overcome. Maybe it's happening right now. We've seen just like such a pretty big shift in the energy of, just where we are emotionally and physically. And we're just kind of like trying to navigate through that as a society right now. And so I just want to ask you, maybe think of that time where you have felt that you have really overcome, or right now that you are overcoming. So as you're thinking about that time, let's think about really like what overcoming means. It's really about in your own way. It's really about feeling in your own way that you have really conquered a situation, a task, a moment, and you've really powered through, you've overpowered, you've conquered, you've defeated, right? So it's not necessarily about really thinking, did I win that situation or anything like that, but it's more just really thinking about, did I make this situation and did I make this valuable for my life and for my heart or for my family or for my business? So when we think about why overcoming is so important and why we really need it in our lives and really kind of the overall umbrella of what it looks like, it's really important for, in my opinion, for really strong reasons. One being that it gives us self-confidence each time that we overcome. So what happens when we make it through a situation that, while we're in it, often we feel like we are just not going to make it. It feels very long. It feels very difficult. And it feels very much like we cannot overcome. So when we do it, when we power through whatever power, when I say power through, what I don't want you to think is like, I've got to keep my schedule and keep, it's not powering through like that. It's powering through more of like on a mental basis, right? So it's getting through, getting to the other side. It's coming to the other side. It's swimming when you're tired. So it's just powering through, and whatever that avenue looks like for you. So it's coming through to the other side. And when we do that in a time that we think that we can't, what happens is we build self-confidence. So it gives us a little bit of like, you know what? I'm stronger than I thought I was. I'm stronger than I think that I am. And that allows us to really bring that confidence into other things in our life, whether it be to a friendship, whether it be to a business, whether it be to a relationship, whatever that might look like. It also allows us to be able to handle certain situations for future, right? So it allows us to, maybe if a similar situation occurs or comes to the surface or presents itself, we are now ready and we are now more confident saying to ourselves, you know what? I'm ready to go through this. I know it's going to be hard. I know similarly what it's going to look like to overcome this situation, this pain, this hurt, this grief, this shift, this pivot. And what I know to be true is that I did make it to the other side once before, and I'm going to make it to the other side again. So it gives us a good handle on confidence in ourselves to be able to handle future situations as well. Number two, it really allows us to grow. So growth is just so important, as we all know, in life. And so often when we're sitting, a lot of times in the middle of that heaviness and, oh gosh, I just know. I was just talking with my mom about this the other day, and I just really, really remember what that felt like for me at just my lowest point and the lowest space of where I was at. And we were kind of talking and, shifting back and forth, like, do we remember what it felt like? Because we now are on the other side. And, I think there's times where you think that you don't. But, grief always comes in different stages, and it looks different every year and in every space in your life. So, it's always kind of thinking, my therapist always told me to think about, going through all of your grief and going through growth is like pulling back an onion peel. So you pull back a layer, and there's things you might see, there's things you might smell, there's things you might feel, right? Like on and off. And then there's things you might not. And then when you peel back that fifth layer, you might feel something different. So one layer might take a year. It might take 2 years. It might take a long time. So whatever that looks like. And each layer can look differently. So it really allows us to be able to grow, and growing is so important because it allows us to do things like lead, work, exist. It allows us to see. It allows us to be able to move. It allows us to continue to take action, and it also allows us to be able to plan and to do things that really help our worlds go round. Okay. So when you're in the thick of that, really just thinking instead of just only feeling the heaviness, because I also think it's important to feel that, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, but really asking yourself, what is it that I need to learn right now? Because I learned this a long time ago. When I ask myself that question, what I tend to find is that I get through what I need to get through faster when I am just sitting in it, and I'm just like so hyper focused on what it looks like and what it feels like and how much it hurts, and holy cow, I can't move, and holy cow, I'm frozen, and all of this stuff. What happens is I tend to become pretty paralyzed and not be able to do things that I know that I can do. Then I become frustrated. Then I get down on myself. Then I lose my self-confidence, right? There's just all these things that kind of start to happen. So when you're in it, you're looking for the growth. I know that is so hard. Trust me, y'all. I have been there. I have been in those trenches, and it is so hard to sit there and say, what can I learn right now? But when you ask yourself what you can learn right now, what it allows you to do is it allows you to see the growth that you have, and the growth within the situation, and the growth of the people around you, and the growth that you go through when you go through one of those situations, and when you overcome, is really like no other. Growth and confidence building just all comes together. You know what I mean? So instead of lying in the dirt and lying in the mud, ask yourself, what can I see right now? Is there anything that I can control right now? What is it that I can learn? Okay, I can learn this, and I'm going to focus on growing, getting better in this situation. And that's going to allow you to kind of help see through the weeds, see through all of that. Does that make sense? So that's the second thing, is growth. And the third thing is that it builds resilience. Gosh, if there's one thing I've really realized about myself, the handful of years ago that I went through the worst space of my entire life, and I'm still unraveling a lot of that, of, the pain and the hurt and the distrust. And there's still, like, right when I think it's about done, there's still kind of like, it's like these, like, if you can imagine, if someone just drops a can of paint, it doesn't just splatter. Like if I were to drop a can of paint, it doesn't just like splatter on me. It also splatters like everywhere else. So within all of the stuff that happened, there's like all these different colored, like tiny like paint splatters. So with other people that dropped paint that were around me, that were in my life, that maybe were a paint color that didn't belong in my life, there's like these splatters on my heart and splatters in my emotions that I'm like, as I have undone my onion layers, I've found that they are there. And I've started to, it's like, I'm cleansing. And then it's like, oh my gosh, here is a yellow paint splatter, and I'm cleansing. And how did that get there? I didn't even know it was there. And then I'm feeling that pain, and I'm grieving, and I'm hurting, and I'm sad. And, and then you kind of clean that up, and then you peel back another layer of the onion, and you go through growth, and you gain some self-confidence. And then all of a sudden you go, oh, here's a red splatter. Oh, that's from that situation, or this person in my life, or, this situation that I went through, or this grief, or this pain. And you start to clean that up a little bit, and then it goes away, or it gets lighter. Right. And then so that process looks different for everybody. And what you find as you're doing that is that you're building resilience in you. Let me tell you guys, resilience is a characteristic that I want to have in anybody that I hire. In a successful business now going on almost 11 years, if somebody doesn't know how to do what it is that I do at my studio, but they have persistence and they have resilience and they have confidence and they know how to, resilience is a key characteristic that I look for in people that I hire, because you want to know why? Those people are going to be dependable employees that when stuff comes up, they're going to, one, be able to be strong enough to communicate with you about it. They're going to be coachable and open to working through it. And they're gonna be open to being in that community and being able to work through that as a company and as a brand and getting to the other side. And then what's gonna happen is that's gonna show the rest of the people that I have on staff and all of the students that I have are gonna be inspired by that. So I will take somebody that has a major pound of resilience, that has no idea to pole dance or anything like that. I can teach anybody how to pole dance, but what I can't teach is that resilience piece. So it is such an important characteristic for you to have, and it is very, very strong and worthy for you. The last one is it secures your foundation. So it's really important to defeat, to conquer, to overcome, because it's going to secure the foundation of where you are. Nothing makes your foundation stronger than when you clean up, when you clean house. And when I say clean house, it's not clean all this and get rid of it. It's not that. It's just that it's when you work and when you grow and when you build brick by brick, little by little. Because as you do that, as you build confidence, that is a strength. That's a brick. As you go through growth, that's a brick. As you build resilience, that's a lot of bricks, right? As you are persistent, that's a brick. And you're going to build a foundation that is full of steady, brick, powerful, land that cannot be knocked over. So, those characteristics, like just think about, don't give up. Giving up is kind of like, it's like laying down the straw, right? It's covering it up. Don't cover it up. Don't give up, because when you do those things, you're building a foundation of straw or sand. And when a storm comes through, and it's like the little pig story. The house gets blown down. But when you build a house with bricks and you build a house with a great foundation, when you build your soul with a beautiful, strong foundation, no one's going to be able to take you down. No one's going to be able to get you down. Does that make sense? So we want that strong foundation. And these are some of those characteristics that can build that. So what that means is, in order for us to overcome what it looks like for us to come, it's to successfully deal with it in some sort of controlled manner. So think about going back to building like that wall, right, of our home. If we just kind of throw everything up, now we may have the good characteristics, but we maybe didn't build the house exactly like we needed to, right? So it's really important to be present as you're moving through this. What is it that I need to see? What is it and how do I need to grow through at the end of this or through this, right? So now when we're aware and when we take our time with this, it allows us to successfully go through and building a very secure foundation. So not only does it put our bricks down, it puts them in the right order. It stacks them in the right way. It gives us the right glue. It's all put together so that it's not going to be knocked over. So there's a couple key things to overcoming. And I talked a little bit about this as I was going through those 4 things of why overcoming is important. But your 2 keys here is that you've got to be consistent and you've got to be persistent. Okay. Consistency looks different for everybody. There was a point when I was going through all of my stuff that consistency for me looked like I showed up. Okay. That felt like, to me at that time, that felt like such a huge task and something, I can kind of get emotional just thinking about it, but it felt like such a big thing for me at the time. And for a long time and for a long while, showing up was the only thing I had on my to-do list. And what that meant is that I was going to get up and I was going to take care of my kids And I was just, I was going to be, and then I was going to make it to bed somehow. And I didn't even know how I was going to show up. Show up meant if I can just get out of bed somehow, I'm going to get back in bed tonight. So if you are in the show up phase and that's your consistency, you are successfully dealing with whatever is going on. You are overcoming and you are controlling what is going on. You do have control. You are doing it. Okay. Persistence is just be persistent, because if you just eventually continue to show up day after day after day, moment after moment, there's going to be a day where you say to yourself, you know what? Today, I actually think I can show up and go for a walk. And then for a while, you might show up and you have another thing on your to-do list, which is go for a walk. Yeah. So then you have show up and go for a walk, and you just stay consistent with that. You don't have to plan how many days. You don't have to figure it all out. You don't have to have an outline. You don't even have to have a goal. Okay. All that's wonderful. And if you're in a place where you can do that, do it. But sometimes the plan can just be so short, don't overthink it, that it can just be those two things. So having consistency, having persistence, don't ever give up. You won't overcome and you won't learn. The biggest thing is that you won't learn. And then what happens is, raise your hand if you've been there, it's going to happen again. Raise your hand. I was just thinking about something last week, and it was like the event happened with this person, and I thought to myself, I can't even get upset right now. I can't even get mad. I can't even be hurt, because this is my own fault. Because before, when this happened with this person in the same situation, what I didn't say is, what do I need to learn right now? Or if I said it, I ignored it. Yeah. Raise your hand if you've had that happen. I have a million times. And you know what? The Lord knows with me that he's like, Amy, you don't listen. So now I have to just like totally whap you over the head with a 2x4. Like, I'm stubborn, y'all. I'm just so stubborn. Okay. So don't give up. Okay. Don't give up. Learn from it, grow from it, power through. And then if you're in a place where you can do this, ask for help. Okay. Sit in it. Feel your feelings, feel what it's like, allow it to change, allow yourself to pivot, allow the grace, make a plan to work through it if that's the space that you're in with people that you can trust. Okay. Accept and let go. Accept what it is and let go of what you thought it was going to look like. If we don't do that, if you don't do that, it's going to be very difficult for you to be able to let go. Act and be thankful. Place any sort of action step, and consistency is an action step. Getting up, that's an action step. Act and be thankful. Make sure that that you have so much gratitude going through these situations while you are overcoming. Thank the Lord, thank the universe. Sit in that gratitude, that meditating gratitude. Sit and be thankful and be so grateful for what it is that you are learning, how you are growing, and what things are going to look like on the other side. I'd love to hear where you are in this journey. Share with me. You can find me at amyosfien.com. Some of you that are listening to this are in my group and you're hearing this for the first time. And listen, let me tell you something. You are not alone. Okay. You are not alone in this. People have been through it. We are here. We are here to carry you through. That's what I love about this community that I've built here. And I want to hear from you. I answer every single message, every email that comes through, and I want to hear what you're going through. I want to support you. I want to be there for you. So what did we learn today? We talked about overcoming. We talked about why it was important. We talked about consistency and being persistent. And my two favorite phrases, accept and let go, act and be thankful. Y'all, thank you so much for joining me today on Life Redesign podcast, where we grow through what we go through. Those of you that are in this my group training, thank you for joining me tonight and just hearing all this and giving it a shot for your life. Give yourself grace this weekend. That's your homework. That's your only homework to do. It's been so great spending time with y'all. I will see you next time where we grow through what we go through on Life Redesigned. And I will see you all next time.